We've been gone for 2 weeks. How was Christmas, New Year, Kwanzaa? No, wait, I did that wrong. I missed out Hanukkah.
Hanukkah at the same time?
Kwanzaa New Year.
I don't know what you've been trying to do.
But how was your last 2 weeks?
Yeah, no, it was good actually. Yeah, it was really good, man. I spent it in snowy Norway. I say that because it snowed a lot.
Yeah.
It snowed.
I saw on Snapchat. You spent a lot of time also moaning about it snowing.
No, it was more of a sarcastic moaning because it gets to the point where there's just too much magic.
Yeah. This is too lovely.
Yeah, it's like, oh my god, snow again. It's a wonderful waste of time. It's a wonderful waste of time. It's a wonderful waste of time. It's a wonderful waste of time.
Hello and welcome to the 42nd episode of the Wonderful Waste of Time podcast, and it's a little bit of a special one because we're not going to spin a wheel. We're doing top fives, but the wheel is gone just this week.
Whoa.
It'll be back next week.
Hey.
The wheel's having a slightly longer time off than we are.
Whoa!
It needs a rest. It's got to do a lot of rotating. I'm getting it fixed. It's down at the shop getting reoiled.
Is it turn around and slide? Is it turn and leave? Sorry, I can't stop.
So,
let's get this rolling.
What we're going to do, as it's the beginning of the year, it's our first podcast of 2018, we're going to do top fives of the year 2017. So we've both prepared some lists of stuff to talk about. So it's going to be different top fives. We're going to go for all of them. It's kind of like when we did the quick top fives before, where we just
quick, yeah.
We already know what we're going to talk about. It's going to be more the talking about it because we've got a lot to talk about.
Yes.
So do you have a list you want to start with? Oh, we didn't introduce ourselves, did we?
No.
I'm Cross Draylai, and with me as always is...
SG.
Static... No, I can't I was going to say geese, but I've done geese before. I always go to animals.
As it's the new year, I've learned that we are all slowly growing.
I was going to say slowly growing just before you said it. When you and us were going into New Year, I was like, slowly growing.
Yeah, that's the one.
From the minute you were born, you were dying.
Wow.
Quotes.
Wow.
Dramatic quotes.
Okay, yeah, yeah.
Slowly growing. I like that. We're probably too old to be slowly growing.
No, we're slowly
dying more now. We should probably at this point be close to being grown at least.
Oh, yeah, no.
We should be grown but looking to grow more.
Wow. I mean, that's what slowly growing is all about.
Yeah.
It's...
You've done the quick growing, now you're slowing it down, you're still growing, but you're not trying as hard.
Or the quick growing was all hormonal and emotional. And
hormonal?
Yeah, man.
That's like hormonal, but ceremonial. Hormonal.
Okay. Cool.
So you want to start doing some top fives?
Yeah.
Do you have a place where you want to start?
Egypt.
That's not helpful. We're not going to just pack up and go to Egypt right now. Maybe one day we'll record in Egypt, but it's not fucking today.
Nah, okay. Well, I mean, I've got a list in front of me. I've got a few lists in front of me.
Yeah, that's the point.
Pick a number out of 3.
Out of 3? So you've got 3 lists in front of you. I've got several lists in front of me. Pick a number between 1 and 3.
I've actually got 4, but...
Oh, you're saving one for last?
Yeah, that's...
We'll just start at the top. Whatever's at the top.
Films it is.
What did you do first?
Films it is.
So do you want to do yours first, then I'll do mine? So my films are split into 2 lists.
Yeah, okay.
Because I had too many films. I had too many that I wanted to put on there, and I felt like I didn't know how to weigh between the 2 things, so I made it 2 lists. So I split mine into a list of entertaining films, and a list of thoughtful films.
Oh,
so because there were so many films. What? No, I think it's a good idea.
You can't be entertaining and thoughtful.
No, you can be both, but there are some on here that I've put on there because they're entertaining,
That's
they're well directed, they're stylish.
Yeah.
But then there are other films that they should probably be bumped off for because they've got like more meaning, and I like that also.
Fair enough.
So I split
Fair
into
enough.
2 lists
Cool.
to make it easier on myself.
No, fair. How about this?
Because
you
I
start
have
with one of your
my
lists.
short list ain't short.
No,
can tell you
clearly, because top 5s get into top 10s very easily. How about you do one of your lists? I'll do my list, and then you can end with one of your lists.
Should I start with my entertainment list?
Go on, yeah, because mine's going to be more so that.
Am I doing all 5? Or
Yeah,
do
yeah,
you want
we
to just
do,
do one each and see if we've both got the same themes?
Yeah,
I think we should go back and forwards.
Back and forth it is. Back and forth. Go on.
So I think we
you starting from
possibly
5 or...
No, I'm not doing. I might have a top 1.
Okay,
but I'm not
on.
going to order the
Okay,
rest of it.
fair
We
enough,
never do
fair
that, and I ain't
enough,
going to
yeah.
start now.
That's
It's too
fair
much.
enough.
It's too much to think about.
That's a lot to think
So
about.
a thing that I think we might both have is Guardians of the Galaxy 2.
Yeah, 100%.
Is that on your top 5
that
as
is
well?
definitely my top 5,
Yeah.
man.
So two of mine I think are on both of ours probably.
Cool.
So Guardians of the Galaxy 2 was
Yeah.
just really fucking good.
It's just really
like,
good.
the first one was really good.
Yeah.
Second one was also really good. I've heard people say they preferred it. I've heard people say they didn't like it as much as the first one.
Cool.
I just think they're both really good. It was a
Great.
genuinely good sequel.
Fair enough. Because I was actually about to ask which... Because personally, I think the first one was probably... It inched it for me, but mostly
Yeah.
because of the excitement of wanting
It's
to
the
see
setup.
that.
Once you've
Yeah,
already
exactly.
seen something, it's hard to do
Exactly.
a sequel because you've got all the stuff already there.
Yeah, and that initial excitement of
Yeah.
seeing what they're about is
Exactly.
a little bit
There's
gone.
going to be so much of it that isn't new.
Yeah, that's
Because of that.
exactly that. But the second film was amazing. It was really
Yeah.
good. Stuck to their
Style.
Yeah,
it,
to their
it
style.
was very them. You could tell the
What?
same people were
It
involved
felt more mature.
in some way.
It felt more mature.
Yeah.
Mostly because the Star-Lord also looked more matured. I think it was just
Yeah.
because we're following a journey now.
Yeah.
The film seemed to mature with the character.
Yeah, I think
Which-
they made him grow up a little bit.
Yeah.
Because they needed to have him grow up at the beginning so that he could regress a bit when he meets his dad.
Boom.
So I think that was quite clever the way
It
they
was
did
really
that.
well set up.
Yeah.
They set up the characters well, and yeah, it's just
There
great
was,
film,
and the
great
ending
action of
was
it.
like beautiful and sad.
Yeah.
And there was several like very quotable moments in it, especially Mary Poppins show.
Yeah,
Which was a big thing for everyone. I've seen it on t-shirts and shit.
Yeah, nice. Yeah, great film. Great film.
It was
great
it was really good.
Yeah.
What's another one of yours?
film. I don't know. You said there may be a crossover, and I'm trying to think. Maybe it's Baby Driver.
It is Baby Driver.
It is Baby Driver.
Yeah.
Right.
That's the other one I thought we both put because
Cool.
when I said it as like a shout out during an episode, we were both like, "It's amazing!"
It's
so I thought we
great
were both
film,
going to put it
though.
on
I
there.
watched it again. Like I think I've watched it 3 times now.
Yeah,
And I mean, I love music, and
yeah.
the whole swing of it. I'm telling you,
Yeah.
the film feels like music sometimes, man.
That's 100%. That's what I wanted to praise it for as well.
Yeah.
It's got so much a sense of rhythm
Yeah,
to it.
yeah. Oh,
It's
seriously.
got more rhythm, and I know that it was very well planned
Mm.
because Edgar Wright has said like he planned it down to like seconds so that they knew it'd be right before it goes in. So you can say it's editing as well,
Yeah.
but he planned that. That was a director really thinking about how everything was going to fit together in editing.
so well.
But it's got better rhythm than a lot of musicals have got.
Yeah,
There are parts of the film where there's no music in it, and it's got so much rhythm still. Everything is so well timed. It's really well done.
It is
It's just like
really well
impressive. It's very inspiring.
Yeah.
for me.
Yeah, no, it's yeah. I mean, there's not much I can really say past that because it's just a really good film, really well shot, really well. Like the characters were really well presented as
Yeah.
well because essentially they didn't.
They weren't all there for very long.
Yeah,
So they built
exactly
them up
that
really well.
Yeah, great.
They didn't need to have like huge character development.
Yeah.
Only really Baby needed that. Everyone else, it was kind of two sides of them.
Yeah,
Because that makes sense in that kind of film as well. Like you see them as one thing when they show up, then it might turn on its head completely and switch them the other way.
Yeah.
And I think that's why it worked so well. It was build up and it had payoff.
Yeah.
Which there were some
yeah,
films.
yeah,
there were
yeah.
even films that I've put on here where I feel like there were bits that I don't think had as much payoff as I wanted them to have.
Yeah.
But that's definitely not one of them. I think that was so well done.
It was.
It was really
well
slick
done.
as well. It was just really cool.
So slick. Great film. I have no more to say. I mean, I could go on about that film forever, to be fair.
The performances in it were great as well.
Oh, yeah.
Particularly John Hamm and Jamie Foxx, I think were really good.
Yeah, I mean, obviously...
Ansel Elgort was like really... He was the main character. He was really good. But them two as villains were just so
who played Buddy again?
Buddy was John Hamm.
Man.
He was amazing in that. I think he stole that for me.
He went ham on that.
He went ham on that one.
He went ham on that one. No, it's great performances all around. Really slick, like you said. Music. I mean, the playlist. You know, even that is just great. So, Baby Driver's going back.
I think as well, because there's been a lot of people saying like, "Oh, the music wasn't even that good" and stuff. I feel like that doesn't matter. I don't think that was the point. It didn't matter how good the choice of music was. It was how well it fit the film. I think that's the point.
On that, you won't enjoy every song in a DJ's.
No, exactly. Exactly.
List, but it's the way they put it together that makes you. And that's the.
I think it fit the film well.
Yeah, that's the beauty of composing, man. Yeah. It's like you're not going to pick the best songs in the world all the time.
There's a lot of people that have made it sound like they didn't like it because it wasn't all songs that they liked.
Yeah, exactly.
That's stupid. It's a film. It's not made tailored to you.
Yeah. No, so whoever says that, you're irrelevant. Simple. Go. Nah, Baby Driver's up there.
Do you want me to go into one of the ones that might not be on your list?
Yeah, go on.
So my other three, Blade Runner 2049
I still haven't seen it.
Was really good.
I've heard.
Yeah. There's a lot of things getting remade or getting sequels and stuff like that, and a lot of it doesn't work. That really worked for me. In large part because it wasn't about Harrison Ford's character. Because it was Ryan Gosling, it was a new character. Harrison Ford's in it.
Okay.
Don't get me wrong, he's like a large part of it, but it's not about him. It's about what Ryan Gosling's character's going through, and I think that's why it worked really well.
Cool.
And it's I think probably the best cinematography of the year for me. It just looked, because I really like sci-fi though, so that kind of style is always going to do it for me. But the colours in it are amazing. When he goes to like the sandy planet where there's like a mansion-y thing, it's all, I don't want to spoil it.
No,
it's all orange. It's all orange and red, and it looks like a sunset constantly. It's like cartoony. It looks like the fucking Lion King, but in a good way. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It was really good. I love sci-fi, and I think that was my favourite sci-fi film of the year. I think. I suppose it's between that and Guardians, as it is sci-fi, but it's
comic.
Yeah, it's kind of superhero-y sci-fi.
Exactly. Yeah.
But I would say 2049 was my favourite sci-fi film of the year.
Cool.
Really,
I've been told on the visual side to see it.
Oh, 100%. On the visual side, definitely. But I think the story was really well done. Cool. I think the tone of the film was really well done, and it also presented Ryan Gosling to do, like Drive. What was the other one?
Yeah, no.
He doesn't say a lot in those films. He does say more in this than he does in those.
Yeah.
But Ryan Gosling does that thing really well where he can act without words, and you understand what Ryan Gosling is doing in a situation. You can see into his head.
Yeah.
In the way that he looks. There's something in his eyes you can understand.
Yeah. It's not as it's
very underappreciated for that.
It's that not overly emotive, but
it's
very
like thoughtful.
revealing.
It's like you can see when he's thinking something.
No, it's really
internal acting in some way.
Yeah. It is actually. I mean, it's difficult to do anything without words. To be fair,
without miming.
Oh, have you seen my excellent? No, wait.
You can do your Marcel.
Marcel, not quite. This
not
is
that level of mime.
No. I mean, see, this is technically the radio, so you could just tell people I'm doing the best mime routine you've ever seen in the world.
Wow, look at him go.
Yeah, so
I'll mime my applause.
Check this.
Listen to me clap.
Check this for this.
It's mime applause for a great mime show.
Well, you know what? This is going nowhere. So my list.
Yeah, give us one of yours.
Yeah, so on that, keeping on that kind of, I'm looking back at mine. Mine are a lot of they're basically Marvel. I think Marvel has actually got me this year. Damn. I just looked at it now.
Like I say,
But,
in terms of the theoretical comic book wars,
Yeah.
I think Marvel films have had a far better year than
they have.
DC, as I feel they do most years.
But this next one isn't Marvel. It is DC. It is Wonder Woman.
Wonder Woman was very
Yes.
good. Wonder Woman was
was
by far the best
amazing.
DC
I think it was
film.
the best. I think it was one of the best superhero films this year. Like, I would definitely put it next to Guardians. Easy.
I would
but
put
there's
another
another
one above it.
Is
I would put Guardians above it, and I'd put one other film above it.
It's probably Ragnarok.
It's not.
Oh, okay.
Actually, no. I probably would put that
Yeah,
above it as well.
I will put.
No, there's two more films I would put above it.
Cool. And that's probably the last one's probably my other option, but we'll get to that. So yeah, Wonder Woman though. Wonder Woman. I think, but there are so many reasons why Wonder Woman is amazing. Right?
Yeah.
One, she's like, well, it's a she. So like, we just get that. There's a lot of female characters. And
there are a lot of female superheroes. I was going to say villains.
Superheroes
that haven't had stuff made yet,
and it's weird. And it's like, but she's a good. She's
usually
a
end
good
up
start
only
to
in like the team stuff.
Yeah. Exactly that, and it's like, you know,
I know they are making a Phoenix film now.
Okay,
so they're doing an X-Men spin-off.
Yeah. But why Storm's origins, man? Storm's
but Storm is largely an X-Man, not her own character. Yeah, they've all got origins.
Yeah,
but she wouldn't be one that I would. I love Storm. I think it's
really
cool.
but
she wouldn't be one that I would give a solo film.
But even if
I can think of several other characters I would do first.
I don't know. So I remember one of the origin stories being pretty interesting, man.
Her origin story is good. It's kind of weird to do as a film, though.
Yeah. Okay. Well, yeah, but Wonder Woman, like visually, like the scenery stuff was nice when they were in. I can't remember what the world is. Amazonia. Yeah. So when they were in Amazonia, it just looked so piff. Like, you know what I mean? Like they've done that so well.
Yeah.
That was definitely
that for me was the really good bit of the film.
Yeah.
I wasn't all that keen towards the end as much as it was really good. I don't know that I really liked the villain that much.
I don't know. I didn't really see the film too heavy on the action was good.
Yeah.
But I just kind of liked what they were doing with the character.
I think they did her really well.
They've set it up for something. They've set it up so well. They haven't set it up in this cheesy superhero way where it's
she's definitely the one that I want to see more of the most out of all of the
I want to see the sequel.
Justice League
like
as well.
I don't even
did you see Justice League?
I haven't seen Justice League yet.
It wasn't it was alright. It was quite good. It wasn't spectacular. But I think part of that I think it shouldn't have been Zack Snyder. Because I don't like some of the things that Zack Snyder does. I think it should have been Patty Jenkins doing it, who directed Wonder Woman. Because she made all of her action look really intense and cool. And I think she could have done exactly the same thing for the rest of the characters.
Yeah, see that.
So I would have been interested to see her do Justice League.
Yeah, because DC have a way of really making like action look boring. And this film didn't do that.
No, but you say that, but it's not DC's, it's not the company.
I'm saying
it depends who's involved in making it, but what films are you talking about?
Because
Zack Snyder's directed 3 of them.
Please give me.
So he did Justice League.
Yeah, I haven't seen it.
He did a Superman,
terrible.
Whatever Superman it was.
Whatever Superman, terrible.
Unfortunately, all Superman's kind of terrible because of Superman. And he did Batman versus Superman as well.
Terrible. He ruined Batman. So
it's the thing, and that's another thing that I think is a problem going forward with it. Because obviously Ben Affleck became Batman.
Yeah.
A lot of people gave him stick for it. I've only seen him in Justice League. I thought he was fine.
He was fine, but
he was going to direct a Batman film, and I don't think people understand how good that would have been. If you've seen either of Ben Affleck's films, he would have been so perfect to do a Batman film if he had done it in his style and not in trying to make it like a comic book movie.
Yeah.
If it was like The Town but with Batman in it, it would have been fucking awesome.
Cool.
Genuinely, I think the fact that he's not doing it now is kind of sad for me. I would have been excited about that.
Well, Wonder Woman was good though.
Yeah, Wonder Woman was really good.
It was really good. I want to see what's going on after.
Wonder Woman wasn't as good in the Justice League film. because I don't think she was.
No,
She wasn't. She didn't do the same stuff. She didn't have that same feel that she had in the Wonder Woman film. In the Wonder Woman film, she does a couple of things that I thought were stupid. I think that there's the bit where she runs across no man's land that I thought was really just kind of silly. It was like it was over dramatic.
Okay,
but then all of the like really cool stuff she does is kind of tarnished in Justice League, where there's a bit where a crowd of hostages are going to get shot.
Yeah,
and she runs out and deflects all of the bullets with her arm bracelet things. Cool. I can't remember what those are called, but it's just like that's stupid. It was just like that's really dumb, and it gave me the same feeling. The only dip in the Wonder Woman film for me is that bit where she runs across no man's land, because I was like, that's too much. You know what I mean? That's just like it was too many things. She would still get shot in the feet if she got a tiny shield, but with her running across a group of people and stopping all of them from getting shot with an automatic rifle by just putting her arms in the way of it is silly. That's some Superman shit, and that's why I don't like Superman.
But she's essentially Superman.
She's not human. She's essentially Thor.
That is actually more so. And Thor runs around with a hammer, swinging it, and and that can run.
But he's never had a bit where he just like goes in front of all the bullets. He's like, I'll stop all of these bullets.
What?
He hasn't had that, has he?
Oh, come on.
Or maybe in the older films. I don't like either of those either. I only like Thor Ragnarok. I've probably blanked most of the other two out.
Definitely the better.
But no, I just think that was silly. The fact that her running through no man's land was less over dramatic than her saving some hostages from being shot is what was wrong with Justice League. Is what I was trying to say.
That's a good point. I haven't seen Justice League, but that sounds like a good point there.
It was silly for me. I think they stopped her from being as cool, because it was really good. The bit in Wonder Woman where she's up in the guard tower, and she's like sliding across and throwing things at people. Yeah. That was Wonder Woman. That was what I wanted to watch. And then I don't think they did that properly in Justice League.
I will still watch it, even though
I'll probably watch it anyway. Fucking, if you have interest in anything, watch it. It doesn't matter whether it's shit. I watch things sometimes purposely because they're shit. Because sometimes you need to know what's wrong with something.
Okay, that's a good point. I just don't like filling my head with garbage.
Like it out. You take out what you need, then you move on.
Filter it. Like a little learning filter.
Do you want me to say what my other one that I was put above it was?
Yeah.
Have you seen Logan?
Yeah, that was in my list.
Yeah, it was just really good.
Really good.
It's so weird to me that it was directed by the same person who directed The Wolverine, which I didn't like.
Oh, really?
Yeah. It was so different from each other. Yeah. And I don't know if it is a thing of that's more like what he wanted to do, so they gave him another chance and he let him do what he wanted or something. I don't know. But so much better.
Yeah.
So much more like the character and what you want out of him.
It was... I mean, I enjoyed it because, like, there gets to a point where people have to be able to connect deeper than the action.
Yeah.
Because there's some realness in it. there's some, like... Especially the whole thing with Professor X.
Yeah.
Like, that whole kind of, these are still human beings at the end of the day.
Yeah, exactly. Showing them all as more frail and stuff
it felt like such an exposing film. It felt like this is it. It's like someone saying, you know what, fuck all the glitz and glamour, step into the door and see what they like.
It's nice when superheroes aren't superheroes.
Yeah.
It's nice when they're like...
Wolverine was a chauffeur.
This goes back to why I don't like Superman. The reason why Wolverine was really good in that is because he was trying. I don't like when you watch Superman show up in something and he's just like magic. It's boring.
Yeah.
Whereas watching Wolverine like really try to save people is far more interesting to me.
It is. It's gritty as well, man. It is gritty
in a good way.
In a good way,
like
not like
over dramatic gritty.
Yeah, it's not like it didn't feel violent at all. Obviously, there were bits.
It was so violent.
Exactly.
Did you know it was a 15?
Really?
After I watched it on Blu-ray and I kept looking at the case, going, "This is a 15." Yeah. Like, it's really quite violent.
It was a bit violent.
Like, I'm not a fucking prude for any of that, but I did keep thinking.
But it didn't feel violent. it didn't feel like it was.
I don't
like,
want to give too much of the game away.
Yeah.
A couple of people had their heads lopped off.
Yeah, but it didn't.
And it showed it quite graphically.
This is what I mean. Obviously, if anything with Wolverine in it, there's going to be a lot of.
No, 100%. It's what it should be.
Yeah, exactly. But it didn't feel like they were just chucking in. It didn't feel violent in the sense of it was mindless. It didn't feel like, oh, let's just chuck in a fight there. Or it was more like, this is the struggle they're going through.
What I'm saying is, why do we mark up nudity more than people getting their heads chopped off?
Because a nipple is more threatening than a knife.
Especially when they're erect nipples.
Hey,
that could stab right through you.
More men have... No, I'm not going to go there.
More men have died in the quest to see the nips. That was a very high-pitched squeal you just
made. No, it's just pure stupidity, really. I also don't agree with like why men are allowed to have their chest out and women aren't. Like I feel like this is a stupid thing. It's such a we're just picking things to sexualize, and it's like, what the hell, man? Like
I'm kind of the other way. I get why, but I also think men should stick a shirt on. I don't think.
Yeah, that's what I mean.
I don't think it should be. Let's get everyone topless. I just think you don't show a shirtless man.
I think
whack a vest on him.
I think it's literally. I think it's literally it is both or none.
Yeah.
Essentially, is what I'm saying. It's like it's both or none.
Just
like
level it out.
If no nipple should be okay on my timeline. To be fair.
I don't need to see you shirtless pictures on Facebook.
Chill. Literally.
Don't walk through a public park with no shirt on.
What kind of fucking annoying fuck off.
It's hot. I don't care. Put a shirt on.
Dress appropriately. And like it would be the same people that would be like, she's showing bare skin. It's like.
Yeah,
dude.
And then it's some like gross shirtless guy.
Yeah, it's just like,
this is getting off track from films. The other reasons some of the other reasons I liked Logan. It took where he's shirtless in it, and I don't care to see Hugh Jackman's nips. Actually, was he even? I don't know if he was shirtless in it. I'm just saying it for the sake of it. But they kind of did the right things with not doing an exact adaptation, because it's partly based on Old Man Logan, which is why he's old. But then they took X-23 as a character and they changed her up a bit, had her be younger than she would be normally in the story when she comes into it. She's like a older teenager typically in things, whereas they made her a kid in this. And there was another bit of it that would be a bit spoilery that wasn't a thing that is in the comics in any way. It's not a thing in any of the comics. They've never done it before that they added in. But I think they did it the right way. It's what a lot of things need to do, where they need to not try so hard in trying to do exact stuff. It's what they do now, to be fair. Most comic book adaptations seem to be bits and pieces. It's its own thing. Understanding that you can't fit 60 years of comic books into one film. People seem to be doing more of a combination and doing more of their own thing now, and I think it works a lot better. Whereas the original Spider-Man films with Tobey Maguire and stuff like that, they tried too hard to stick to actual story arcs, and it was a bit.
I like the Spider-Man.
I don't think they worked as well.
I really like Spider-Man.
I far prefer the newest Spider-Man.
I do. The first ever Spider-Man and this one, not the first ever Spider-Man, because obviously that's.
I don't really like the Tobey Maguire Spider-Man.
I don't know. I like the first Tobey Maguire one.
I don't like Tobey Maguire as Spider-Man.
I like the first Tobey Maguire one.
It's a bit too dopey, and it doesn't really suit Spider-Man for me.
I think he played it well.
I don't think he's like the character.
Fair enough. The new guy definitely is a lot more.
The new guy is not only like the character, he's like my favourite version of Spider-Man. High school Spider-Man is the best Spider-Man. I don't give a shit about his adult problems. I like him as a kid. It's funny that Spider-Man is Spider-Boy. It's way better. They've done the right thing.
It's very good. Very good. But cool. So Logan, that was great.
Was that on your top 5 or was that on your shortlist?
It was.
So we've got 3 of the same then.
Yeah. And then
what was your one more?
My one more that made the top 5 is actually Thor Ragnarok, and
Thor Ragnarok. Yeah.
It's the same reason as like why all of these. Thing is, the reason why all of these made it, right? Especially like the they're all basically superhero films, but they don't feel typical.
Yeah.
They don't feel like we're just gonna put some action there. There are real stories in these ones. Like Wonder Woman, obviously it's the origin story, but it was really interesting and it was just visually really nice. Guardians, they've already done an introduction.
They
it was
do
the
them
best.
so well.
Like, but it's the story that they bring with it. You know what I mean? Like, it's genuinely
it's
interesting.
kind of everything with Guardians. I think.
I think
their visuals are so tight.
They have some
the
beautiful
colours
scenes
and
in that.
everything look so
Beautiful,
nice.
Definitely. And so Thor makes it right, and none of the other Thors would have ever made.
Exactly.
Yeah.
This is not a thing I would ever expect to say.
Exactly.
Because the last two Thor films I think were shit.
No, I mean, okay, I wouldn't say they were shit, but I think they were typical. They were just typical.
I think they were just boring. I think the first one was bad, and the second one was just like the first one.
Essentially, no. I think the second one's a little bit just weirder because they just they just put a bit too. They tried a bit too much on the second one.
Yeah.
This one, it felt like they were like, guys, let's stop trying so fucking hard.
Which is exactly what it was, because they said Chris Hemsworth said, "Can we do something different?" Because people don't like it, and then they got a guy who directs comedy films to direct it instead. And it's leagues ahead. And not just because of the comedy. You can't say it is just because it's funny. It's so much more than that. It's just far better done. It's got its own style, which is the thing I've complained about for years with Marvel films. Is trying to make them all too similar.
A lot of great reference
far
points
more
in that
like
as well.
its own thing.
Did you get the what's it called? Charlie and the Chocolate Factory reference? When they were going through the Stargate. I don't remember what it was called.
Yeah.
And it's the colours, and then they had the song
playing. Yeah, they had.
So like
one of them say the one of them says the thing that he says when they go through the weird tunnel bit on the.
I don't know if they quote him directly, but I just the scene itself was a direct quote as well. So it was clever, it was witty. It was still action-packed, but didn't feel cheesy. That rhymed. But didn't feel cheesy. And, Thor as well. Literally, one, it was good. It's always good to see a hero who's meant to be a god get the fuck kicked out of them for a second. Yeah. It's good. This is why sometimes... But with Superman, it's annoying because, it's annoying you're meant to be Superman, fuck off, you know what I mean? Yeah. But with Thor, it's like, oh shit, man. Damn, the God of Lightning's getting beat down because his older sisters are badass.
Because it turns out there are other gods.
Yeah, you know what I mean?
He can't be the most powerful if there are other ones around him. They're all just got just as much right to be powerful.
Not Mr. fucking, I come from another planet and I'm meant to be a god. And
not to keep harping on Justice League. Genuinely, I didn't think it was that bad.
Yeah.
But among the things that I didn't like about it is that Superman is basically Jesus in that film. He's like, Superman's not here. Superman's shown up and he can save us all. And it's just like, no.
What, in the whole Justice League, then he's Superman? No. Come on, man. So that's it doesn't feel like, these are meant to be invincible people. They're, again, like with Logan, they're exposed a little bit more. Yeah. And Thor's character really reflects that because even the whole changing his hairstyle, even that's just as a character representation, that's a whole look. We're switching it up.
A physical way of showing it's not that anymore.
Yeah, and it's great. It was well done, and it broke the mold, and it was able to, for the first time for the Thor films, get into that category of not being just another hero film. It's not just It brings more now. Like I said, it's funny as well. It's really funny.
I think above all else, the reason why it works so much better than the other ones is that it's fun. It's not. It's not serious. It was light-hearted, but in the good way.
Yeah, 100%.
And I like the visuals in it are so much better as well. It's so It looks better. It feels better. I think everything about it is far superior to the previous two films.
100%.
And I really liked that it was like a cartoon. It was like I've said this to loads of people every time I talk about it. To me, it reminded me of like an 80s cartoon. It was like 80s, 90s. Like, do you remember watching the X-Men cartoons when you were a kid? Yeah. With the theme tune? It was that. It was that as a film, and that's why it worked, because it was all bright colours and interesting. Yeah. and fun, really and some of it was stupid, but that in a good way. Like, it was the fun kind of stupid. Like, you're allowed to do that. Like, in Guardians of the Galaxy, they do some stupid things.
Yeah, they do it really well.
Funny.
Yeah, they do it really well.
And I think they did the same thing with Thor Ragnarok, and I think that's why it worked. Because it knew... It was the first one that felt like it understood that Thor is a stupid character.
Yeah.
Thor he's a god who has come to Earth to hang around with superheroes who also have powers, and they're like, we're on the same team. And then he goes into space in this one. It's just like, it's the first one where they've gone...
It's a bit silly.
It's silly that there's this guy exists and he talks like that. Yeah. And stuff like that. Yeah. Like, they made fun of it in Avengers because it was as a whole team. And I think because of that, it's opened it up for them to do it as a whole film now.
Definitely.
Rather than him being, I've got serious problems.
Even the whole thing with him and Hulk in that film, I seriously love that.
And I think they did Loki better as well. Because after watching the second Thor film, I was like, if they do Loki in the third fucking film... Because it's just like, he's dead now. You've done he's in it too much. He was in both of them, and he was in fucking Avengers, the first one. He was like, I'm bored of Loki now because you're overusing him. So good in the third one because they made the character interesting again. Yeah. They switched him up. Yeah. The same as they did with everything else. Literally. They made him fresh again.
They did. They actually did. It was good. It was really good. There's not much else I can say. Except the fact that the whole thing with him and Hulk, I'm just replaying it in my head now. Yeah. That relationship was really good. Hilarious. Well. Yeah. It was hilarious. So that's a great film. That is my top 5 for films, actually.
Sure, my other one off. So again, this is just off my entertainment list. I have another list of 5 to talk about. This might actually take up a whole episode. So maybe we'll split it into 2 things and then do TV, and I've got games as well to do. Cool. You've got cartoons and anime and stuff. I've got albums. So and albums. We haven't done music. Yeah. Maybe we should do TV this one and then do music and games in the next one or something.
Cool. That makes sense.
So my other one on my entertainment top 5 was Atomic Blonde. Oh, did you see that?
No.
Really fucking good. Oh. And it started it's part of this trend of action films where the action feels genuine and good and interesting. Yeah. And people don't get shot and then get up and walk off like, I've been shot. Yeah. Like, I think it's because of The Raid, mostly, and then John Wick did it. Yeah. But I think John Wick did it because of The Raid. I maybe not, but to my mind, The Raid is kind of when people started doing that kind of thing. And then John Wick did it really well as well. Yeah, John Wick brought it down. I haven't actually seen John Wick. I just know from people telling me that they did that really well. I have them to watch. I just haven't got around to watching them yet because I've been trying to watch all the films for this. Actually, the second one came out this year, didn't it? Yeah, so I probably should have watched it. But Atomic Blonde does the really good thing of she fights people and she looks fucking damaged when she gets hit and stuff like that. Damn. Like, she gets thrown into a wall and she's on the floor like gasping, getting up and then having to force herself to fight. There's this point in the film where they're fighting around like a stairwell and someone's flat. Yeah. And they sort of go in and out, but everyone involved in the fight looks fucking tired. They've all been fighting for so long, they're all just stumbling over to each other and sort of forcing one punch out and then struggling to do anything else. And it feels so much better because it feels real. And she's supposed to be like this incredible spy, but she's hurt while doing this. She's not Pierce Brosnan, James Bond, like getting shot at, never manages to get hit, drives off a cliff, gets on a parachute, and then surfs away into the sunset.
Classic James Bond.
Well, they're doing it better in the new James Bond anyway, aren't they, really? They're making it more... Not to this level. I think this is far more interesting than James Bond films have been in a while. It's everything about it, though. It's really slick. It's really cool. She's a really good character. James McAvoy is really good in it as well. The whole vibe of it is really good, and it's got this whole like sleazy spy feel, but that's what you want from a spy film. I don't like, again, it's the over polished thing. It's again like Superman, where you can make them too heroic and I think it detracts from them. In this, she lies for a living. Like, her job is to purposely fuck people over, so that's what she's like as a character, and that's why it works so much better.
So she's not extremely likable.
She is because you understand why she's doing it.
Okay, yeah. But
She's sleazy. She's not sleazy, but you know what I mean. The whole vibe of it is sleazy as well. I was trying to say, like, everyone's lying to everyone. She's just like really cool.
Yeah.
So she's likable because she's a fucking badass.
Okay.
Basically.
Yeah.
But you know that she's part of this system of people that are lying to each other. So you sort of
get it.
Even as the protagonist, you don't trust her.
Yeah, okay.
Which is what I think you should feel about someone in a spy film.
Yeah.
I don't think James Bond should have ever felt trustworthy. He should never have felt like a superhero. He's a spy.
Yeah, he lies for a living.
He lies for a living. You should never be like, oh, look at him, isn't he magical? It should always be like, you've got a fucked up life, mate.
Yeah.
Like, what you do, I understand what you're doing, it was fucked up, mate.
Yeah, it's definitely. Cool.
Yeah, that was my entertainment top 5, but I've got another top 5. I've also got just like a short list of random films that I thought were good this year that included like Wonder Woman.
Yeah.
Hitman's, Thor's on there as well. Hitman's Bodyguard was on
also
there.
Really good. Yeah.
But I'm not going to go through all those. And there was a couple of films I didn't get to see.
I was
but I
going to
thought
Get
were
Out
done quite well
as well, because Get Out was actually decent.
Get Out is on my other list if you want to start with Get Out. So on my list of thoughtful films, Get Out was on there.
Yeah.
That's actually the one I was talking about where I felt like there was some payoff that didn't really work for me.
Okay.
I think I really liked it. I think it was a really good message, and I think what I thought was really good about it is that it was that thing of you don't know what's going to happen with your girlfriend's parents.
Yeah.
it was basically going, oh, your girlfriend's white. You don't know what her parents are going to be like.
The
movie.
It
was the nightmare version of that.
Everything that could go wrong in that situation.
But that's why it was such a clever film. Because it had the side of it that was like satirization, and it had that side of it as a story of being like young black man campfire story. You know what I mean? It was like a ghost story. You know what I mean? It was like, oh, I heard this happen to someone.
As a soundbite. Someone send that to the
send it to Peel. Yeah.
Like this is.
But that's what it was. I mean, I watched it yesterday. But that's how it felt, because it shows up, and he's even from the very beginning. His friend who works for the TSA says to him like, "Oh, your girlfriend's white. Do her parents know that he's black?"
Yeah.
And then he has to say to her like, "Do your parents know that I'm black?" before he goes there. And she's like, "No, they're fine. They're fine. They're definitely not racist." And it's so that thing of like, this is like the horror story that people tell you
it's
as an actual thing.
It's so good.
So I think it was well shot.
Yeah.
It was well acted. Daniel Kaluuya was fucking he's great anyway, but he was phenomenal in that.
Yeah.
It was really well performed. It looked really cool.
Really well performed.
The story's good. I think the satirization was really good.
Yeah.
The only thing that didn't necessarily do it for me is how short the action was compared to how long the build-up was.
Okay.
I think the pacing was slightly off, where it felt like 3/4 of the film was build up to a thing that you knew was going to happen, and then it was only a little bit at the end. I did like that when it came to him having to like get out.
Yeah.
He was that's the name of the movie. I know what you're going to say. I could see that on your face. It's like that Ryan Gosling moment. I knew what you were thinking.
I had to hold that one in.
Yeah, I like that he was really capable.
Yeah.
Because there's a lot of horror characters who like,
shit.
Oh no, I did the wrong thing. Whereas he's just like, no, I just beat the shit out of everyone.
Yeah.
But I kind of wanted to have, and it might have been silly if they'd actually done it, but you know, it's kind of like Hot Fuzz to me, the whole like concept of the film. Because Hot Fuzz is essentially that thing of, I've heard there's this weird town over there, and everyone in there's in a cult. It's that, but it's a different story. It's that like rumour as reality. But I kind of wanted him to go through and kill all of the old people. I wanted him to go through to all of like the other people, because he's the end of it is just him and the main family, not all the family. Because they throw like a party and you see all the other people. I wanted all the other people to come back into the ending, and they don't enough for me. I kind of wanted, even how quickly the end stuff happens was fine. It just needed more build up to go through the other people. I think it was too long in the like, there's something wrong here. There's something going on here, and it's we know there's something going on here.
That's the whole point.
Like we know what the film is. Like we've seen posters and stuff. I know sort of what's going to happen. So it was too much, oh no, and then too quick of the fucked up stuff. I would like to have seen more of the fucked up end part.
Yeah, no, I think it's interesting. But I think maybe...
But that is to be critical of what I think was a really good film.
Yeah, but I think, I don't know, for me it's like too much action that film would have taken away from it, I feel. Like...
I just think they dwelled too much on saying there's something going on.
Yeah.
And
maybe so, actually.
Or even if there was a bit in the middle where he looked more into it. Because that all happened quite quickly.
Yeah.
It was just like... He started to think that something was wrong. Then for like half an hour, he continued to think that something was wrong. And then it all broke again.
No, fair.
Whereas if he'd started looking into their history or something more than that, or if he'd found something and there was like a mystery.
But I thought that's what the friend. See, that's what the friend was. He was that kind of.
Even if it was the friend, you didn't see him doing any of that. He just showed up to the cops and told them.
Oh, did you see the bits in the middle where it was because he would like call because he was the only reason.
Oh, the cops came. There were bits where he was. I mean, he didn't. You didn't see him looking into anything, did you?
Oh yeah, true.
Really,
True.
He looked into it, then he told people he looked into it, and he called him. There was no, like... I just felt
build
like...
up to that thing. Yeah, no, fair enough.
But I think it was an amazing film, and that is probably my... I think it was the best of the films that I'm putting on my thoughtful list.
Really?
I'm
interested
but I don't think it was my favourite. But that is only because I think one of them hit me more personally, and I liked the other one more.
God,
and it helped for some other reasons because you know how I really like stop motion.
Cool.
There was a stop motion film about some sad orphans. So that was the one that kind of really hit me. That was probably my favourite film of it. So it's called My Life as a Courgette.
Like
I think it was French. I think it was made in French.
Made in French or in France?
It made in France, but in the language of French.
Oh, okay. In the language of French.
Because you can see when they're talking, you can see that the dubbing is wrong and stuff like that.
Okay.
There's a bit like where someone says yes and it looks like they're saying we. So I think, I don't know that it was French. I'm sure there was something to do with Switzerland as well. So it's a stop motion animated film, but it's about this little boy who lives with just his mum, and his mum's an alcoholic. And he's obsessed with like this superhero character. You just see him drawing superheroes, and you find out later on that that's his story about his dad because he doesn't know his dad. So he draws this superhero, and that's who he thinks his dad is. So he sort of locks himself away in his room, and he just draws stuff. His mum is constantly drunk, and there's a bit this isn't really spoilers because it's the very beginning of the film. He collects up all of her beer cans and then makes them into like a tower. And then knocks the tower over by accident, and then she comes up to his room, which is in the loft, to tell him off, and she's like properly shouting at him, and so he closes the hatch before she can get to the top of the stairs, but he does it just as she gets to the top of the stairs and hits her in the head, and she falls down the stairs and dies, so he gets sent to an orphanage. So the opening of the film is this little boy who's in this absolute like shit situation, who then accidentally kills his mum.
Wow, it's so fucked up.
So he gets sent to an orphanage, and all the kids there have been through like really bad shit, basically. And they don't like go into too much detail of a lot of it, only every now and then. But you sort of get the implication. So there's this one kid who's really mean, who starts saying why you here, and then eventually tells him why everyone else is there. So you sort of get all of how they've ended up there. And there's a girl whose mum got deported. There's a boy whose family was poor and his dad's in prison because he got arrested trying to steal shoes to give to the boy. One of them's dad abused her. One of them's mum had like OCD or something like that. He says that she constantly cleaned and she tried to keep the boy really clean, and they've all got the effects of it. So like the boy whose mum had OCD overeats, and he eats his toothpaste in the morning because his mum told him it would keep him clean. So he eats like a tube of toothpaste and stuff like that. So you get all their effects, and especially the one that really made me sad. Like it was a running joke, but it was the most somber joke. Yeah. The girl whose mum got deported, every time a car pulled up, she'd run outside and ask if her mum was there. And every time it came out, it was like all the other kids were like, "Oh, she's doing that again," and I was just like, "Oh fuck!" Like this is genuinely sad.
That's really sad.
But then the main story of it is obviously about him being at the orphanage, and a girl shows up who is. She's been living with her aunt, but she says her aunt is only looking after her because she gets money out of it, and she treats her like shit. So she's stuck there in this same fucked up situation, and it's kind of about them talking to each other. It's about Courgette, the main kid, talking to that girl.
Oh, okay. His name's Courgette.
Courgette's his nickname. That's what his mum called him.
Oh, okay.
But it's so good,
Sounds sad
and
as
it's
shit.
one of those films. I feel it's probably like the most underrated film of the year. Like it was really good, and there's a bit at the end that made me like really choke up and shit. I
sad,
highly
man.
recommend it.
Sounds real sad.
But it's all this really sad stuff that's not done in a sad way, and that's why it works. So it's all like this fucked up stuff happens, but then all the kids are trying to do nice things, and they're just kids trying to like exist and be happy. So that's My Life as a Courgette, and then Get Out. The other three, one of them came out last year in America and won loads of awards, and then came out this year here, and I only watched it recently. So I'm putting it into not this year. Last came out in 2017. It came out in 2016 in America.
Yeah.
2017.
I totally got what you mean.
Yeah.
But yeah.
It's 2018.
It is 2018.
Did you see Moonlight?
No. I've heard so. It's been everywhere actually. Literally everywhere.
We won awards and shit. That's why.
Oh, okay, cool.
It's really well shot. It's really well acted, particularly. So it's like 3 stages of someone's life.
Okay.
I think the kid who played him as a teenager was really good.
Okay.
And really got across like the uncomfortable and awkwardness of both the character and of being a teenager in general.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was really good. So the like story of the film is these 3 bits of someone's life.
Yeah.
And it's about a kid who grew up in I think it's supposed to be somewhere in Florida. I think it's Miami.
Cool.
Who lives with his mum. His mum's a crack addict. And essentially the guy that looked after him when he was a kid was a crack dealer who was also his mum's crack dealer. It was a fucked up start. So he starts off as this kid that barely talks and he's getting bullied and he runs away and he hides in this abandoned building, and then the guy finds him and then like takes him back to his house and they look after him for a little bit until he says where he lives so that they can take him home, and then his mum's all like, stay away from my kid and stuff like that. But the boy keeps going back to see him because he was nicer to him than his mum is most of the time. But largely the film is about him like realising that he's gay.
Yeah. I was thinking this is how the main thing about this film.
No, that's just the setup of his fucked up childhood. Don't worry. Yeah. So as a kid, all the other kids are like picking on him and stuff for being gay, and he asks about it, and the drug dealer who you could kind of expect to be like kind of homophobic maybe, is just like, no, you can be whatever you want, but don't ever let anyone call you the things that they're calling you and stuff like that. And the whole film is about him and this other guy that he was friends with since he was a little kid, and he's kind of in love with him but doesn't really like, they have sexual encounters, there's like sexual moments between them, but they don't really express themselves properly, so they're kind of very awkward about it, and he doesn't really know how to say like, not only is he definitely gay but that he likes him, and it's not just like a thing that they're doing, you know what I mean? It's not just because the other guy that he wants to be with is shagging girls as well, and he's like notoriously, he like gets in trouble for shagging girls but then has sexual moments with just him as far as he's aware. So he's obviously not sure about it, and then even when they're older and they meet up in the end part of it, he's like got a kid with a girl that they went to school with and stuff like that. So he's constantly being pulled along by this other guy who's not doing it on purpose. It's not like a spiteful stringing him along. It's just neither of them really get their shit together enough to work it out. But it is really good, and it's really well told. I think it all just feels a bit quick is the only problem with it. Like it's really good, but I can see why you couldn't have made a trilogy out of it. It would have been too much. But it's based on a book, and the book probably went more into detail about each stage of them. But I don't know. It must ultimately be a positive thing, but after every chapter, I was like, "Oh, you're fucking ending that bit there." I felt like I wanted more of it, but I think that's a good thing. It just all felt like it went so quickly. I was really caught up in the story of it, and then every time a chapter ended, I was like, "Oh shit! Wait, what?"
Yeah, no, but you don't. Yeah, it's probably the better way to end.
Yeah, exactly. Like it felt like a bad thing at first, but now I'm thinking about it. If it had gone on more, it probably wouldn't have been as good.
Yeah,
it was kind of better that they did it like that. But it's really well done, and it's amazingly shot as well. They make everything look really cool, and the colours are really nice as well.
Poster looks really nice as well.
Yeah, the poster actually kind of represents some of the colours that they use going between the different stuff.
Cool. Yeah, I've heard a lot about it as well, like little bits, but mostly because it was just I've just heard about the gay bit. That was just the story. It's just that no one's really said about the childhood bit or whatever. It's just the story about. Yeah, it's just basically.
I just kind of thing. The reason I talk about that bit is because I think it's really interesting.
It's interesting.
The guy that genuinely looked after him was his mum's crack dealer. I just think that's the interesting part of the story. Like, how fucked up is that?
Yeah, I don't know. I feel like that's something that's a bit. Maybe I'm looking at it from a different angle of different types of films, though. But I feel like that bit is a little bit typical.
Really?
Yeah.
In what way? What other film has had that same thing?
That whole setup of like...
Maybe if you say it in those terms, but I think if you watch the film, the way that it's done is different.
Yeah, it's probably... That's what I'm saying. It's probably like... My reference points are a little bit obscure. They're more like, can't think of a film now. That's not helpful. But there you go. I just thought it was a little bit... I feel like that setup is... I've seen it somewhere, But ultimately, the film itself, no. Like, it's about something totally different, if you get what I mean. So I know it's going to be different. Even that setup is going to be different because the film is so different from whatever settings I would have seen that plot. Yeah. If that makes sense.
No.
So, like, a relationship in a rom-com and a relationship in an action film, even though it's the same setup, it'll be done in so it's just that. Like, this doesn't feel like a heavy gangster drug film, if you got what I mean. This feels more like... It's
not. There's literally nothing to do. That's kind of like the surrounding parts of it, that there's drug dealing happening.
Yeah, whereas...
It's not about that side of it.
Whereas...
You don't even really see the other guy drug dealing, you just see him talk to someone about drug dealing.
No, that's what I was saying, but in that situation of, this guy that we went to school with is dealing... Obviously, the drug dealer is dealing to his mum, didn't go to school, whatever. But that whole thing of knowing the guy who's dealing to your parents, whatever, or dealing to your mum, you see that in drug films. You see that in that kind
suppose,
of... You know what I mean? So, but it will be set up differently because these are they're so separated from each other. Yeah. If you know what I mean, as situations. So that's all that was about. Interesting though. I still do want to see it. I've literally
I don't think it's worth watching.
All of last year's I saw it everywhere, literally everywhere, and it was noticeable because the poster was so noticeable. It stands out. It's probably saw more things more than I saw that, but that's noticeable. It's distinct. So Netflix.
Cool. I watched it on Amazon Prime, I think.
Okay. Cool.
I don't think it was on Netflix.
Well, yeah.
Right, so I've got two more to talk about.
Yeah.
One of them, again, came out quite earlier in the year. Should talk about that one. It was kind of more of a high-profile film than the last one, so maybe I'll talk about the other one last. Just because I would shout it out a bit more, just because I don't think it's had much recognition. So I'll talk about that one last.
Go for it.
So, the one that came out earlier in the year that was a bit more high-profile, it's been talked about as in other people's top lists and stuff like that. It's a film called Personal Shopper. It's Kristen Stewart, and it's kind of two sides to it, which sound really weird and like they don't make sense. Yeah. So she is someone's personal shopper. That's why it's called Personal Shopper. She basically has to travel around picking up clothes for the women that she works for.
Like a personal shopper.
She also her twin brother died. And,
cool.
and he was a medium who said that when one of them died, they'd be able to give the other one a sign. So she keeps going to the house that he died in to see if he's haunting the house.
Wow.
So the people that want to buy the house have asked her to keep coming in and checking and see if there's something there, because they don't want to move in
until
if there's some kind of malevolent spirit there.
Fair enough.
So
I get where they're coming from.
Because he was the medium and has obviously talked to her about it, and they were twins and stuff like that.
Yeah.
She sort of believes in it. She says in the film when she's talking to someone else about it, she doesn't believe in ghosts and stuff like that. She doesn't really believe in all of that stuff, but she sort of believes that her brother specifically might have the ability to show him something. But she walks around the house from the very beginning and is sort of like, I feel like there's something here, and she's sort of like very unsure of it, and she starts questioning things about the house. If they've changed, she says there's like a cross scratched into one of the walls, and she says, was that always there? And stuff like that. So she's sort of unsure about things, and she sort of says she'd need more time to actually figure it out. So she says she's going to come back, essentially. She's going to keep coming back. So she but she needs to keep talking to her brother's girlfriend, who was with him in the house when he died and stuff like that. Then the next bit of the film is her just like normal life. It's weird that it starts with some supernatural stuff, then goes to her picking up clothes and shit like that. And it's all about her picking up these fancy clothes. Yeah. And there's bits where like she tries on the shoes and she's like, I'm not supposed to do that. Don't tell my boss that I'm trying it on and stuff like that. And then she goes back to just doing all this normal stuff. And then she goes back to the house later on. And when she's there, she starts seeing shit. So she starts feeling like something's really wrong, more intensely than the first time. And then there's these like smoky, ghost-looking things. There's one of them who like face is like melting from one side. It's quite weird looking. But then she says it's not. So her brother's called Lewis, and she's saying like it's not Lewis. Like whatever this thing is, it's not my brother. Like that's who she's gone there to try and communicate with. But she's saying there's something wrong. Yeah. And it's someone else in the house. And then it goes back to her doing a personal shopper thing again. But then she starts getting these weird texts from someone who says like, I know what you're doing right now. I know where you are. Come to this address. Tell me about all this stuff. And at first she's like, leave me alone. Stop fucking texting me. I'm going to block your number. Yeah. And all stuff like that. And then he starts asking like, what compels you to do things? Yeah. And she says, it's kind of doing the wrong thing. It's doing like forbidden things essentially. And he says, I know that. That's why you keep trying on her shoes and stuff like that. So he obviously like knows too much. Okay. So because of that, she keeps texting back. So she keeps saying she's going to stop, but she keeps texting whoever this person is that's texting her all the time. I don't want to spoil like towards the end of the film.
Is it all set in a day?
No, it's not. It's over like a long period of time, and her travelling around, and the bits of her picking up clothes. She like goes. She's in France at the start of it. Yeah, that's where the house is as well. But she travels to London to pick up clothes, then goes back. I don't want to spoil what the end of it is, because even though I do think it was kind of predictable, some of it, I think both the stuff to do with the person texting her I thought was kind of predictable, and I think the very end of the film there's sort of another bit, and I thought that was kind of predictable for me as well. But I don't think it was bad though. I thought it was really good still in general. But the themes of it, and it's more about her like identity issues and her coping with her loss of her brother and stuff like that. But there's bits where like she keeps trying on the clothes, and there's a bit where she spends some alone time wearing the clothes as well, because it's more about, she says she hates this job, but she keeps trying on all the clothes because I think there's part of her that wants to be she wants to both do the wrong thing. She kind of wants to be rich, even though she kind of hates the woman she's working for. She's dealing with this like immense loss of her twin brother and stuff like that. So there's all supernatural stuff and there's all this normal stuff. I just think it's a really well done film. That's why I thought it was worth putting on my list. Cool. It's really good.
Sounds
I recommend
so strange,
it.
but
yeah, cool. Because I heard a lot about it. Yeah, because it was talked about, and I don't know if it won awards and stuff. But I remember people saying this film called Personal Shopper had won awards. I was like, why would I watch a film about a personal shopper? I don't know if it won awards. I'm just saying it was praised.
Oh yeah.
But I couldn't see why it would be interesting. Then when I read that it was also supernatural, I was suddenly like, now I'm curious as to what the fuck a personal shopper film has that's supernatural. But it's genuinely good. It's really good, and her performance is amazing. Kristen Stewart was really good in it. People still give her a lot of shit because of Twilight, which I think is dumb. Because I've seen her in quite a few things that I thought she was really good in.
But Twilight was
over the last
shit.
couple of years. Yeah, but that's the thing, innit? That's the thing, innit? Twilight was shit.
Yeah.
That's not her fault.
Yeah, it wasn't her fault.
It's nothing to do with her, is it? But no, she was really good in it.
Fair enough.
So I've got one more, and then we're going to wrap up because this is taking up a whole episode just talking about the films. And we'll have to split it into several episodes.
And you said it would be like the quick top 5s.
Oh, I thought the other bits would be. It's just films that have got on too long.
Oh.
It's because we're talking too much about it. I told you we'd fill up an hour.
Yeah.
We just ramble on about shit. So the last film is about loss as well. It's called Mr. Roosevelt.
Oh, okay.
It's
heard about.
It's on Netflix now, and it's really good. It's Noah Wells. She's starred in it. She wrote it and she directed it.
She's not busy.
It's well directed as well. I think it's her first thing she's directed,
yeah.
And I was like quite impressed with it, and it all looks really nice. Nice. They shot it obviously on film. You can see if it's. I think it's on film. If it's not, it's a very good imitation of because it all looks soft and grainy, but in a really beautiful way.
Yeah.
And it adds a lot to the film, I think.
Nice.
So it starts off with her. She's a comedian who is in Los Angeles and trying to be successful as a comedian. Then she gets this call about Mr. Roosevelt, and there's an emergency, and she's got to come back. So she goes back to where she's from, which is Austin, I think, Texas. She goes back there. Mr. Roosevelt was her and her ex-boyfriend's cat, who is dying.
Oh.
So the setup of the film is she goes back because her cat's dead, essentially. It's not just dying, it dies. But it's about her and her ex-boyfriend, who now has another girlfriend, and she's got nowhere to stay. So her ex-boyfriend's new girlfriend says, "Stay with us." And she's like, "No." And she's like, "No, you should stay with us, like, because of the cat and stuff like that. And we're going to have, like, a service. They're going to have, like, a wake for the cat," which is more dramatic than a lot of people do.
Yeah.
But she's basically gets talked into staying with them. And she's like, "No, it will be fine." And then, obviously, it's not, because why would that ever be fine? It's never going to not be weird.
Yeah.
So it is largely about their relationship and the fact that she still kind of wants to be with her ex-boyfriend, and them breaking up was largely her just leaving. Like, she broke up with him over the phone and moved to Los Angeles to try and be a comedian, and says to him, like, in the long run she was trying to do the right thing and stuff like that.
Yeah.
And he was in a band and stuff like that. They were both creative, but now he's like he's becoming like a realtor, like selling houses and shit.
Yeah.
So he sort of changed a bit thanks to the other woman, and she's freaking out about it a bit because she's not only fucked up everything between them, she's gone back and he's not the same person anymore.
Yeah.
And she still feels like he wants to be who he was before anyway, but she knows it's her fault. So it is very much like a relationshipy thing, but done in very much the right way. And she sort of learns to deal with herself a little bit. But it's one of those films where there's a point in it where she sort of says, "Hold on, as much as I hate this other person, I'm an asshole as well." There's that moment of realization of like, oh no, we're all bad people. It's like, as much as the other girl is like trying too hard to be all nice, and she gets like paranoid that she's like trying to make her look bad and stuff like that, so that she can't win him back.
Okay.
And things like that.
Who stays with the?
Yeah, I don't know why you'd say it. Anyway.
It sounds interesting. Well, fucking hell.
It's really good, and yeah, I think it's going to be one of those, much like I said, My Life as a Courgette, it's going to get overlooked. I think it's one of those films where it might get overlooked, but I think it's really good, and I think it's definitely worth watching. The other films who had like praise and stuff like that, and people have talked about them, but I haven't seen that much about it. It's only because I like Noah Wells anyway.
Yeah, no,
I've seen it.
Did I see? I don't know if I saw that trailer for it, but I definitely have seen it on Netflix. I think.
It is on Netflix if anyone wants to watch it. But yeah, I recommend it. It's really good, and there's a lot of her like becoming more comfortable with herself. She meets this woman who works. She's a waitress. Well, she sort of has a breakdown essentially while they're all out to dinner together. And the waitress sort of comes and calms her down and stuff like that, so she becomes friends with her. But the waitress is sort of like slightly badass and just gets on with her own shit.
Yeah.
So she sort of learns to be a bit more like her and things like that. But it's nice. It's one of those things that there's a lot of series on Netflix that are kind of like it, like Master of None and Love. They're kind of about people and relationships, but it's ultimately about them learning about themselves.
Yeah.
It's kind of like that as a film, but it is genuinely worth watching, I think. So I'd shout that out as a thing to watch if people haven't seen it. Out on Netflix right now. Should we leave it there because we're at an hour and 10?
Wow.
And we've only done one of the categories.
Damn. Wow.
So we'll do another top 5 next week.
Yes.
We've still got music, TV, and I've got games to
do. I've got cartoons.
Yeah.
Yeah. That sounds good.
So there's probably a lot for that as well. It might even be more than one episode.
Imagine.
But it's fine. Who cares? It can happen. So that we're going to leave it there for this week. Next week, those things. If you want to hear more from SG, you can go to soundcloud.com/Mr. Souls or mrsouls.bandcamp with Mr. Souls spelled MRSOLS. If you want to hear more from me, you couldn't see me do Let's Plays. If you go on YouTube and search Renegade Pineapple. If you want more from the podcast, we're on iTunes, Instagram. Those were in the wrong order. iTunes, SoundCloud, YouTube, Instagram and Facebook. Because the first 3 were things that you can actually listen to the podcast on. Cool. The other 2 are just advertising, essentially. I was like,
is there an order for this? But
iTunes, Instagram doesn't really fit together.
Yeah, no.
You can also email us at our wonderful waste of email at gmail.com. Like and subscribe and do all that stuff everywhere. And let us know what you think and what would go into your... Just do your films for now. If you've got opinions on the other things, wait until the episode where we do those, and then you can give us your opinions.
Yeah.
And if you saw one of those 2 films... If you've seen Mr. Roosevelt or My Life as a Courgette, because I think less people will have seen those, let me know, because I'd be curious as to what other people thought of it, because I thought they were really good. I would also shout out quickly... This is a whole thing of shout out, so I'm only going to shout out one other thing. I'm going to shout out a thing for both of us. A music video that I directed for my friend recently, which has a certain actor in it who is sitting opposite me. So if you go, he's sitting over there. It's Ryan Gosling doing the eyes. They're on Facebook. You can also go on YouTube. The band's called Silent Fiasco, and it was for their song Blowing Smoke. It was a music video that I directed, and SG stars in it. So go and have a look at that as well. Little shout outs. That's it for this week. We'll see you next week. Goodbye.
Bye.
It's a wonderful waste of time.